Hi, today I wanted to share with you a few tricks and insights as to how you can add valuable GDV to your development. Now that might be for the purpose of resales, it might be for the purpose of your valuation method, and ultimately it might be the main goal obviously is getting more income or capital growth out of your building. Whether you're selling it or whatever you're doing with your building at the end, whatever your exit strategy is, you want more GDV, you want more gross development value. That's the end value of the site. Now I'm going to concentrate on today an area that I've used successfully over the last few years of adding extra value to a site, and that is through the parking. You know, car parking, it's not the most glamorous of things. It's not 5-star luxury service apartment accommodation in the centre of Knightsbridge, but parking is extremely valuable. If you're in a town centre, it's even more valuable. So what I'd like to kind of show you today and get you to think about is when you're sourcing property, adding value through parking can be critical. It can make a deal work. It can help you get less money in the deal when you're refinancing. Parking is also very useful because that could be an extended boundary and site on the development you're buying. There could be planning opportunities on that parking space. You need to look at a big parking space. And I'm stood here at Red Brick House in Newbury, which is one of our latest developments we've done. And the parking is about 42, I think it is 42 parking spaces. Don't quote me on that, but it's early 40s. And there's a lot of space here. There's probably not enough to develop on it, but 42 parking spaces actually counts to a hell of a lot of income if you're renting those parking spaces out. Now, how do I rent those car parking spaces out? Firstly, I might let them to the tenants. That's my primary goal. If I've got tenants in here that have got a nice quality luxury studio apartment, they may well want parking. But if they work in the town centre, like 80% of the tenants we have, they won't need a car and it'll be a waste of money. So what they tend to do is get the train and commute and walk to work very often. And that means the car parking is left unattended, unused, and it's kind of wasted income for you guys. So if you think about parking very strategically, it can be substantial extra income. Now we rent parking spaces for, throughout the Thames Valley for, let's say, £100 roughly a month per space. 42 spaces, that's another £4,200 a month in income, which is an awful lot of money. Now, when we're talking about valuation methods, and I'll post a video shortly on property investment valuation methods, so refer to that in the links on the video. The investment valuation will be topped up. The rental income from the units will be topped up with that parking income. If you've got a friendly surveyor, he's going to take that very seriously. If you can show there's a good demand in the area for parking, that income counts towards your valuation and thus your GDV. You can push the GDV up of a site by, on this something of this size that's valued at over £6 million, there could be £250,000 worth of value in the parking. So don't overlook parking. It might not be very glamorous, but if it puts money in your pocket, it's a winner for your GDV. Okay, so I want to quickly take you through the valuation of these car parking spaces, just to really show you the value that these can add to your GDV. Highly important and highly exciting when you understand it and you can add it into your own valuations. Even if you've got an HMO and it's got 4 or 5 parking spaces or 2 or 3 parking spaces, count those parking spaces in your GDV and do a calculation on the rental income and make sure your valuer is persuaded that this is genuine parking allowance in your development. Now, to take you through those numbers, I'm here at Red Brick House and we're going to do the 42 spaces at the back here, back of the development. Not particularly exciting, but parking is parking, it brings in money. So we've got 42 spaces times by £100 a month. It gives you £4,200 of rental income per month. We'll times that by 12 to get you your yearly rental income, that's £50,400. If we now take a deduction of, say, 15% off that for voids and other things, we're left at rental income of £42,842. Now, if we applied a valuation yield to that, which is what the valuer is going to do, and remember to see one of my other videos on investment valuation methods, critical to this, we would now apply a yield of 7% to that income figure, giving you a valuation of £612,000 valuation. So now that valuation, £612,000, is on top of your GDV. So of our sort of 6 million plus, site here, a substantial part of that is due to some parking income, which is real genuine income. Here at Red Brick House, we are not going to be renting a lot of these spaces to young professionals. We will allow them to, but generally they don't need parking because they're located, close to the area. So if the tenants don't take them, what are we going to do with the leftover spaces? We're going to rent them to offices. There's lots of surrounding offices. We're right in the town centre here in Newbury, and parking is a genuine uplift to your GDV. So whether you've got a 42 unit studio scheme with 42 car parking spaces, or whether you've got an HMO in a town centre somewhere with 2 or 3 car parking spaces, don't forget to try and shoehorn in that extra GDV with the parking income and persuade your valuer that extra income should count towards your investment valuations. So how do you persuade your valuer to include this parking income in his valuation report, which will give you that much needed extra GDV on your site? Well, like any surveys that you do, any valuation surveys, you need to prepare evidence, and you need to help the valuer with his evidence and his comparables. So parking's no different. You want to jump on websites like Parklet and all these. There's plenty of I'm not promoting any one website here, but go online, type parking for rent, parking agency, all these kind of terms in Google. You'll find local agencies and internet agencies that rent parking spaces. Jump on those, find some comparables in your area, and hand 2 or 3 or 4 of those to your valuer when he comes as part of the package of information. You'll have all your comparable evidence for all your studio apartments and your units in your site to show what values and rents they are achieving to help persuade him to agree with you. You can't be too punchy, you've got to be realistic. The same goes for parking. Get your parking comparables out there. Pull off adverts from the local papers. Any evidence you can find, whether it's local parking rates. If there's a big NCP car park, what's the daily rate there? What does that equate to on their monthly rates? Call up the NCP in the area. What's your monthly rate? There's my monthly rate. It's 100, 150 pounds a month to stay in your NCP. That's evidence. Give it to your valuer. That's what parking spaces are going for in my town. Once you put all that evidence together, you can hopefully persuade the valuer that the parking income on your site, there is a genuine demand for it, that there is a good value to associate with the development with the parking. Once you've done that, hopefully he'll pop it in his report, maybe a little section. He might just take that on top of the gross rents. You could just add it into your spreadsheet of on this one 1 to 42 units and 42 parking spaces is X per month. There's your spreadsheet with your income. And then you put the comps in of the parking at the end of it. So, be strategic, be prepared, create your evidence. You are looking to show someone, a valuer, that's maybe come from an out of area, they might not be from your town. They need to understand the market. The easier you can help them do that with that comparable evidence, the more likely they are to support your view of the area and the value that you're placing on that parking income. Hope parking has kind of opened your eyes today. There's a lot of potential GDV to be had there, dependent on the site. There's a lot of potential opportunities looking at that site to redevelop. So hopefully today you now consider parking differently. When you're looking and sourcing sites, you're going to have some ideas of where some hidden opportunities might lie.